What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope everyone's having an amazing day. Today we're going to be taking the new fusion champion in Gnut for a spin against the Demon Lord Clan Boss in a traditional style composition, not unkillable. And I was watching Call of the Arbiter, right? And I was seeing this dude swinging his axe, taking down that Clan Boss, and hopefully we can see the same thing today. But firstly, how's everyone doing? Let me know how's your fusion going as well. Are you on track and what kind of events are you doing at the moment? I believe we've got the Ice Golem, right, coming towards an end. So I'm still a little bit short, I believe, at the time I'm recording this video. But let me know how your progress is going. But yeah, let's talk about Gnut quickly. We'll go into the Clan Boss run and then we'll also speak about options and the speed tunes towards the end of that as well. So what he's basically going to do is the money scaling one with the Blessed Bash. He attacks one enemy 3 times and each hit will decrease the target's defense by 3% and will stack up to 30%, and also heals this champion by 30% of the damage dealt, which is actually very important to note here because if he's mitigated in terms of health, he's just gonna come back through and absolutely heal himself back up, especially that is based on defense and enemy max HP. And the numbers that I've been seeing, astronomical, and the numbers hopefully we're going to see in today's video, the same thing. Also on a 3-turn cooldown with Fury of the King, he attacks all enemies, so really has some universal value. Speak about the waves and the Doom Tower, or whatever that may be, going to be very good. But he places a decrease attack and a weaken, 2 very crucial debuffs for the Demon Lord to both amplify damage and mitigate incoming damage from the boss. And will follow this by placing a counterattack on himself, therefore just leading to extra attacks over the course of a battle. Now, the one thing to note is that the Blessed Bash is on a 4-turn cooldown, so I've utilized the gear set to pretty much double his damage from like a normal run. And the Dwarven Might attacks one enemy 3 times as well, so just great for Giant Slayer procs, but it doesn't really bring any extra value apart from the raw hits for the Demon Lord. On his passive with no holding back, when counterattacks, he deals 100% instead of 75%, so there's no mitigation in terms of the raw damage you'll be seeing from the A1 ability. So I'm not going to show you all of the gears and stuff right now, we'll do that later, but for Gnut in particular, we've gone with a reflex build, which has a 40% chance to reduce a random skill cooldown, but I would say there's some alterations you can make here. Now, I'm not really banking on a cycled speed tune where I'm relying on decreased attack at a specific time or the max HP at a specific time. I'm really just trying to make him use his max HP skill as many times as possible, head of another decreased attack option to actually help him out over the course of a battle. And because we've got like debuff extenders and all of that good stuff, we never really see that drop off. But it all comes down to the specific compositions that you're using. If you want to go for reflex, which I've been using in the Demon Lord for unkillable teams and for traditional, because we don't really care about decreased attack against in unkillable teams anyway. But if you're using like more of a traditional team and you need it to come up at a specific time and you're banking on that, of course you can go a different route. But I felt like this is a really cool build for maybe the Hydra as well, if you're trying to use max HP, so it could have some universal value in the speed tunes that I've been going today. And basically, the team that I've come up with today is as so. We have got Corvus the Corruptor, who's an amazing debuff extender and also poisoner. Really pumps out a bunch of damage and value for the team with a defensive aura as well. Of course, coinciding with what we need for Gnut. We got Gnut himself, of course, and then Farrakhan the Fat for drop defense to coincide with the weaken coming out from Gnut. So I really wanted to showcase it in a way where if you don't have a drop defense and weaken champion you want to bring in, someone like a Razin for instance, you can simply use the weaken from Gnut, drop defense from another champion. We've also got increased defense and a cleanse coming out from Wither the Crowns, but this can simply be a block debuff potentially, but I'll show you how to alternate these. And then Skull Crusher as well, counterattacks, trying to add to our damage, and we're going to well surpass a 1 key with this particular team. Now, if we just quickly bring up the speed tune, so you guys can get a glimpse for this. Here we go. Screen capture, there we go. We're still not a noob. We're not a noob. Or maybe we are. So basically, because he's going at 231, so he's the only 4-to-3 ratio champion in this particular team, which basically means he takes 4 turns for every 3 turns of the Clan Boss, right? Now, you can see here that he's taking this double turn, and why I built him in this way is One, it's a 4-turn cooldown for the Blessed Bash for traditional teams without reflex. But also, I just want to see optimal damage, right? But for players that just want to go 1-to-1, that's something that you can't really reach these speeds. That's understandable. Let's just say I took it down to 175, right? You can see here that everybody's still taking a turn. Once you've got the correct presets, it will start to sink in by turn 3. So you can miss the first AoE, do your first priorities here of whatever you want to do, maybe manual turn 3, and then full auto from here. And it will follow the exact same cycle, but Gnut won't be on that 4-turn to match the 4-turn cooldown. So reflex could still be utilized, but it's basically going to be randomized when these skills are popping off. So you need to make sure you've got somebody else to cover the basis. But another really cool thing about using a 1-to-1 like this is you can maybe have someone like Tutor Rhymehide, block debuffs, increase defense, extend it with Godseeker Neri or Corvus the Corruptor like I'm showing today. And then boom, you'll have full coverage for the stun turn as well. So you don't actually need to utilize a cleanser such as Wither the Crown to basically make that work. And then, of course, you could just have another healer, another leech option. Like, it's very flexible. But I will leave this speed tune in the description below for you guys to go and alter yourselves. But in terms of what I've done here, if we just put him back to where he was. So he's going at 231. So we're enabling that double turn here. Max HPs will be proccing. And then we've got a Wither the Crown, who's our cleanser champion, to go just before the stun. Or after the stun, should I say. And this way, we're going to be completely fine in taking that stun off, but it's going to be very bad against Spirit unless you swap it out with somebody like a Doom Priest. But Wither the Crown brings in a leech debuff, phenomenal, allows you to heal by 18% of the damage inflicted, which can scale off mastery procs. And as you see, we've actually not implemented increased defense on AoE 1 because, of course, it's 1-to-1 with the exception of a 4-to-3 champion. And basically what we've done is we've built multiple champions in Guardian sets to absorb some damage for our team. And we've also got ally protection from Skullcrusher to absorb that damage as well, paired with his unkillable buff. On top of that, we've also ramped up the defense stats because we're going so slow. So therefore, we don't really need to bank on increased defense to survive the onslaught of AoE 1. And we'll easily get to turn count 50 in the build that I put today. On the wave 2, or turn number 2, as you say, in the cycle of the 3 turns, we've then got that increased defense going up. We've then extended it with Corvus as well. And that's going to allow Gnut to hit harder on this skill here once he takes that extra turn, because we've extended that value. So he's going to have the buffs active, right? But it will fall off before that. And in this particular team, I've got him as my stun target. And that's basically the fundamentals of this team, guys. So really cool, really basic, and very flexible to what you guys want to utilize on your accounts. But once again, it'll be in the description below. And a huge shout out to Deadwood Jedi for this amazing calculator. So, all right, let's go into the team now and the ways that I've set this up. So here we go. So we got the presets, which I'll show you straight after the run as well. So going A1s here. Going to go for the extensions here. Drop defense from Farrakhan the Fat. I feel it's very crucial to keep active. And I've actually disabled. Wait, let me just take this off auto now. So here we're going to go A1s. So this is the only manual phase to set this up correctly. We're going to go A3, which is the poison debuffs of Corvus the Corruptor. Now, it's all down to your discretion. I've locked this off completely. I don't really care about the burns and the poisons. All I want is drop defense to be as active as much as possible to amplify our mastery procs. And we've got enough poisons coming out from Corvus in order to not need this. So what I'm going to be doing is, we could go for maybe an ally attack here, right? If you want to put him in reflex as well, could be a very viable option. And then we're just going to go A1 with Gnuts. A1 with Skullcrusher. And then from here is going to be completely auto. So as you see here, Wither the Crown is going to cleanse our stun target. It will move towards towards the rest. But look at that damage, guys. No drop defense. Almost 180,000 coming out from Gnuts. Now, wait for this to ramp up. Once we've got drop defense and weaken, we could see upwards of 400,000 damage over the course of a battle. So let's see if we can make this work before I let you guys enjoy the rest of this run. So here comes the weaken as well. So we're in a great place for that max HP to proc now. Hopefully get a nice little reflex proc. And of course, we're going to be mitigating the defense up to, was it 3% every single hit? Stacking up to 30%. That's really going to pay a lot of action here. So there we go. Raw damage 45,000 in the particular build I've got him in today. The leech is very cool as well, so being able to utilize this if you don't want to use other heal abilities. But look at this, 345,000 damage, and we've not even mitigated optimal defense here. Once again, we're going to come through the cleanse, going to follow the exact same cycle, and you can really see where if you run him at 1-to-1, he's still going to have a tremendous value. Just comes down to your discretion. So I'm going to let you guys enjoy the rest of this run. It is going to be around 15 minutes or so, but I'll speed it up for you guys with some music, you know, can vibe a little bit to Gnut's. And hopefully you guys are really blown away in terms of the damage output that he's going to be putting in for this team. So yeah, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button as well if you enjoyed the content, and let's get into the run. So as you see here, over the course of the battle, we absolutely knocked it out the park, right? We had no increased defense on AoE 1. We were surviving from that Guardian build alongside the ally protection. We have got crazy damage of 36 million coming out from Gnut, guys. This is not implementing smite blessings, right? You can really see where it can go up to maybe 40 plus million. We have got 22 million coming out from Corvus, putting in a phenomenal job. Fyric and the Fat would have had more, but we've mitigated the burns and the poisons to put the drop defense out more efficiently. But of course, if you maybe use a Razin, you might not even need to use Gnut A2, and then you'll be in a great situation. Granted, you've got other decreased attack options. With the Ground, done decent damage here, mainly coming down to that Smite. And a Skull Crusher going at 7.7 million. And to see almost 100 million in a team like this, going at nearly 1-to-1 with the exception of 1 4-to-3 champion, you can really see the versatile value that a team like this could provide for you guys as well. But yeah, phenomenal team. So in terms of, let's just take this image off now of the final run. So the team gear that I've used, starting off with the Crown, is a Guardian build like I mentioned prior. And she's going at, well, if we just go into the stats here, YST. 73,000 HP. Basically, this all comes down to this cleanse ability. So removes all debuffs from all allies. That will heal all allies by 30% of this champion's max HP. So optimizing this to your potential is really going to add to the heal values coming out. Therefore, the amount of HP we've got. But because we've got such slow speeds, right? Like I mentioned before, like even with the Crown, 179 basically opens the opportunity for HP percent boots or defense percent boots, right? And this is really going to allow you to add to that sustainability on your champions because of such low speed thresholds, right? So we've basically gone crit rate on the gauntlets, just trying to optimize a bit of damage, right? Why not? We've got defense percent as well on the chest plate, and then we've got HP percent on the boots. We have gone for accuracy on the banner, primarily for that leech debuff. We have got crit damage as well, optimizing damage, and HP as well. But back to the overall stats, we've gone 73k HP, 3.5k defense. I'm usually looking for around 4.2, especially that we haven't got increased defense coverage on AoE 1. But the Guardian kind of alleviates some of that for us. And we've got 100% crit rate, 170% crit damage, and enough accuracy to place that leech debuff. And then also another thing that she's doing is bringing in that increased defense, also placing the continuous heals, increasing their value and instantly activating them, really keeping our stun targets alive as well. Also the leech as well, that can place a continuous heal on a random ally. So the overall synergy of Wither the Crown is phenomenal, right? Phenomenal. But once again, if you've got a leech elsewhere, you could just bring in Mithrala Lifebane, right? Mithrala is going to put in a very similar job, if not a little bit better in some scenarios, because she's got a Strengthen, going to absorb some more damage for you. We've got a shield as well for some protection. So straight after that stun phase happens, you can lead it with the Brimming Silex on a 3-turn cooldown. Place that Strengthen and that shield to survive the onslaught. Coinciding with an increased attack to amplify the damage of maybe your Fyric in the Fat. And then an increased defense for survivability and also to help out Gnut with the damage output. And also a poison on the A1 as well. So if you don't have a Corvus, you can bring in Mithrala Lifebane, fulfill those roles, swap out Corvus with a Leech Champion or another healer. And as I said, so many ways you can make this flexible for you guys. But yeah, leading into Corvus the Corruptor anyway, he's basically going at a 174 speed, 39,000 HP, 4.6k defense, because he is based on defense as well, trying to see some damage numbers. Crit rate is not 100%, but we do have Fyric in the Fat to pick up the slack for us, and we're extending it as well, so that's completely fine. 235% crit damage and 350 accuracy. A bit on the high side, but it's basically what kind of just came from substats in my build because we're going so slow. But once again, guys, do you need optimal damage on him? Absolutely not. But I feel like showing the mid-max builds is kind of like, you can see the highest thresholds, and then depending on your player levels, tone it down a notch, and you'll still be able to see at least a 2-key very consistently, even with just average gear. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Once again, Guardian builds, absorbing 10% damage of the damage dealt, and healing by 10% every single turn. And we've gone for crit damage, defense percent, and defense percent here as well, with some accuracy around the board. And that's basically for him as well. Now, what Corvus is going to open up the opportunity for your team is, field research does, each hit has a 100% chance of placing 2 5% poisons. That's going to be 4 in total, because it's each hit. coinciding with a poison sensitivity to amplify that damage, but this is on a 4-turn cooldown. So because we're going 1-to-1 with Corvus, this is going to kind of be a yin and yang. When is it going to happen? It's going to happen every 4 turns, right? So it's not going to happen at the exact same point every single turn, unless he's going 4-to-3 as well. With the Medical Miracle, he attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit, well, the first hit will increase the duration of all enemy debuffs. So your weaken, your drop defense, your decrease attacks, your poisons, all going to be extended. And also the second hit will increase the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. So if you're going at those 1-to-1s or those 4-to-3s and you want to extend the block debuffs to be affinity friendly, someone like Corvus does open up that opportunity. But you could simply use like a Godseeker Neri, a Sandlash Survivor, and kind of play the same theme here. And then we've also got this A1 that can place a decreased attack to coincide with Gnut's A2 as well. So they can go back and forth to keep this up consistently. And an amazing passive with the Curious Drought, which decreases the damage enemies under poison debuffs inflict, which will be 5% less damage per poison debuff and stacks up to 25%. So this is really allowing us to survive the onslaught from those incoming damages. And the Masteries, we've gone down to the War Master, as you see here, trying to get that damage in. And the support tree as well, just trying to extend the values of Master Hexer, but you could go defensive tree to mitigate some more damage with the Blast Proof, as you see here. AoE attacks reduction by 5%, and also the counter attacks that will be coming into effect. Wither the Crown is actually in that build, so we've gone for War Master again, and the defensive tree, Retribution, and Deterrence, trying to get those counter attacks, primarily for that Leech debuff, right? Phenomenal. Gnut is in that reflex build we showed him prior, going at 232 speed, but it's a little bit flexible, I believe, from like 231. And decent HP, high defense at 4.3k, 100% crit rate, 231% crit damage, and decent accuracy to take elsewhere into the game as well. Masteries, we've gone for the Giant Slayer procs, of course, with those triple hitters. And then we've actually gone for Cycle of Magic because we don't care where the skills are happening. We just want that cooldowns to happen for max HP to deal damage instantly. We've also got Master Hexer to extend the value of the Weaken. I feel like that's very valuable for players. Also because we don't know when it's going to be happening if we're first prioritizing the Blessed Bash. But you could be going Defiant builds, you can go Resilience, you can go Lifesteal, depending where you are. Very flexible in terms of your Gnut builds, but just try and prioritize damage because that's where you're going to see the optimal damage. Skull Crusher I put in Stalwart. I like to do this on my Ally Protectors sometimes. Basically, it's going to mitigate 30% damage from AoE attacks. Being the Ally Protector, a great option, but you could also go Guardian if you wish so. But basically, a bit of crit damage in there, some HP, kind of just like mid-game build, I guess. We've got decent HP. I kind of recommend higher on your Ally Protectors. 4.1k defense, 172 speed, because you want him to be going last in rotation. No crit rate, hardly any crit damage, and no accuracy, because we don't want to be placing that heal reduction to fill up a debuff bar. He does place an ally protection and a counter attack in the same skill, protecting our allies, dealing double damage, and this is where we're reaching those wonky capabilities. And also, he can decrease the duration of debuffs as well, but we're not really caring about that in this particular team. Masteries, we've gone for the offense tree, of course, and the defensive tree, very similar to our Wither the Crown. And a Farrak in the Fats is going in just a pure perception build. Try to make it a little bit relatable for you guys with some gear that you can get from the Forge. And we're basically going for some accuracy stats, right? We've gotten some sustainability around the board. I'm trying to amplify his damage with crit damage gauntlets and attack percent chest plates. And he's going at 32,000 HP, 3.1k defense, 173 speed, good crit rate and crit damage, and enough accuracy to place our drop defense. The decreased defense on the A1 is only a 50% chance, so pairing this with Sniper Masteries could definitely be beneficial. But I've chose to go for the defensive tree. And basically what else he does is that burn and that poisons. So if you're not using somebody like Corvus, that's going to really ramp up that debuff bar, because we can only have 10 at any given time. Maybe disable this, but if you don't have someone that's doing that, you can definitely enable this and get optimal damage. But the main thing is the beatdown, increased crit rate, increased crit damage, and all allies except himself will team up to attack a target. And this really plays very well with the counterattack of our Skull Crusher. And yeah, the main reason as well why we haven't got crazy sustainability on him is the passive, guys. So with his body block, gets his big belly button out, he shakes it everywhere. He deflects 20% of all incoming damage from this champion receives onto your allies, but the damage will be spread equally across those teammates. So because he's deflecting 20% damage, we don't have to really have as high sustainability as we do from our other champions. But I definitely do say, get him up as much as possible in case he might die over the course of a battle, right? And yeah, Masteries, once again, very similar. And let's just go into the presets as well. It's, of course, going to be very optimal for you guys to notice. Just to speed up your runs a little bit. So in terms of the team, there we go. So we've got Corvus with a opener, or first priority on the Medical Miracle, which is basically the extension of debuffs, coinciding with that poison to follow afterwards as the second one. Because we're kind of prioritizing this over this because we need this to happen straight after the increased defense once the boss takes a turn. On Gnut, we're doing first priority on Blessed Bash and a second priority on Fury of the King, but alter this to your will. Farrakhan the Fat, once again, could be any DPS. Make sure they got drop defense if you're trying to pair it with a Gnut. Doesn't have to be Farrakhan, just optimal. We've kind of blocked this off for this run that you've seen today. We're going opener on Sizzling Strike and a first priority on the Beatdown, primarily to try and proc that decreased defense off the bat for our more master procs. Within the Crown is doing an opener on the Soul's Impalement. We've got a first priority on Azure, which is the cleanse ability. And then we've got Feel No Pain. But remember, you have to manually encounter before you kind of click auto again. So these presets is kind of, you can let it run until AoE 2 happens. And then before the stun turn, you manual those 5 turns there. And then boom, you can click auto after the cleanse. Skull Crusher opener and a first priority on Stonewall. And you'll be well in your way to victory. And once again, guys, this particular team with average builds is an easy 2-key, 100%. If you optimize it, you'll be seeing 1 keys. If you want to face Spirit Affinity, you want to make sure that you've got a full-out cleanser or block debuffs to kind of cover the decreased speed. But apart from that, it should be working on most affinities. Doesn't really matter where the stun turn goes. You'll be protected most of the time. So yeah, guys, I guess that's going to be all for today's video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like, subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. And it's really cool to actually jump in and do some clan boss stuff again. This is actually how I initially built my channel from the start. So it's really cool to kind of revisit it, have some fun with some new champions, and, you know, it's just really nice to make a new team for the first time in a while, to be fair. Have an amazing rest of your day, guys. Good luck on the rest of your fusion, and I'll catch you guys on a video soon. Peace.